So, have you ever met someone or had a conversation with someone and you knew that that person was going to be all the things that you thought they would be? Well, this is that conversation today, and this is that person today. And so, stay tuned, listen in. We have some amazing things in store for you. So, please get comfortable, get your earphones on, whatever it is you need to do, because there's a conversation coming up that you need to hear. Welcome to She Leads Boldly, the podcast for faith-driven women navigating high-stakes leadership without compromising what matters most. I am Sharika Sanders, your host, mentor, and kingdom business leader. Here, we embrace bold leadership rooted in purpose, not pressure. This space is for the woman who refuses to choose between faith and ambition, family and fulfillment, impact and rest. Each week, you'll hear powerful conversations, practical strategies, and spirit-led wisdom to help you advocate for yourself, lead with integrity, and rise without burnout. If you're ready to lead boldly, live faithfully, and never settle for less than what God has promised, you're in the right place. And so, I am Sharika Sanders, your hostess with the mostest. Thank you so much for joining us today with She Leads Boldly. I have an amazing person here with me today, Mrs. Sharell Thomas-Hodge, who's a seasoned HR executive. I'm so excited, I can't even use words. Seasoned HR executive, leadership coach, and CEO of the Sharell Group. With over 20 years of experience in total rewards and people strategy, she equips leaders to show up boldly in their careers, blending faith, strategy, and purpose to create lasting impact. How aligned is that? So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm already excited about our conversation. We haven't even had it yet.
Same.
So thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to have this conversation with me, to not only help us, because I believe as we have these conversations, they not only help us, but help those who are also listening in. So please know, you all, that as I'm speaking to you, I'm also speaking to me. And so just to really get things flowing, because I feel like I have you all on the edge of your seats now. You really want to know what we're going to talk about. But I would love for you, Sharell, to really share your faith and the role that your faith has had in your leadership, and how we can just take some guidance to do the things that you're doing, because you show up well in your faith, in your leadership. And I know I asked you the question, I'm still talking, but you show up the way that you show up in your faith and your leadership, and how, from what I have seen, you don't sacrifice one for the other. You don't waver one for the other. And I applaud that and I appreciate that. And please tell us, how is it that you're able to do that?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I totally ditto everything that you've said. I think this is perfect alignment, even the name. She leads boldly. And I think when I think of my faith, I'll first say it is still a journey. So in spite of the fact that it looks like I have it figured out every day, I'm learning more. But I will say, I think showing up really started with me realizing that it's not one or the other. So I am a believer. It is who I am. My strategy is really about prayer and being obedient. And so I really took that same framework into my leadership and realized that when things are tough, so thinking of difficult conversations, just being in corporate America can just be difficult. And so the way I have, quote unquote, mastered that is to really listen to the master. So for me, it's not one or the other. When I show up, God is going to show out, because he is really the center of who I am as a leader. And I will say, for a very long time, I did have myself and God in a box. And so it was trying to figure out, how can I still be true to who I am and be in this corporate space and be in the marketplace? And I really realized that the goal and the key is really to understand that He is really the center of everything that I do. So there is no environment where I'm not taking him with me. Now, what I will say, there may be some environments where I can't pray out loud, but I can always pray quietly. There may be some environments where I'm not able to start a meeting with a scripture or a prayer. Maybe I'm in client settings where that's not appropriate, but it doesn't mean that I can't still lead with all of the biblical principles and have all of those frameworks that we've learned from the greatest leader of all, which is Jesus, into those spaces. And so I've had to be intentional about realizing that that is who I am. And I may not be everyone's cup of tea. However, I'm going to step into every room understanding that God is in control. And so no more am I trying to play the fence. I mean, the Bible tells us about being lukewarm. And I will say for the majority of my career, I was lukewarm. I may have been excelling in terms of promotion and getting the positions, but I failed miserably because I wasn't being true to myself, because I was afraid to really be a strong believer. And so the Sharell that's speaking to you today, all of that has changed, even in terms of how I show up, what I put out to the world, because I am who I am because of him. And you are going to know that. Now, whether or not you accept that is kind of your story and your problem. And I think of, again, the greatest leader of all, right? God doesn't force himself on us. He is there and available, but he's like, if you realize how much I love you, then you absolutely will accept me. But if you don't, I'm just going to keep it moving. And so I do the same thing. I show up boldly with everything that I do as a believer. And if you accept it, then you do. And if you don't, I just keep it moving. And so for me, it has been realizing that there's not a one or the other. He is in control. He is going to show up. He allows me to be successful in all of my leadership hats because I'm a mom. I'm a wife, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, I am the CEO of the Sharell Group, I'm a Total Rewards executive. So there's a lot of hats that all of us wear. And my goal is to really think about how can I be successful with all of them? I cannot in my own strength, but in his strength, I can do all things. And so relying on him has allowed me to even excel beyond my wildest dreams because I let go and I let God. And so he shows up in the rooms, in the meetings. He aligns all of the clients that I want to have to make sure that their values are aligned with mine. I'm like, don't let Sharell speak, God, you speak. And so it makes all of the conversations easier. And sometimes it's really too easy. And I get taken back and I'm like, God, it isn't supposed to be this easy, but I realize it's easy because I am really relying on him and not my own strength. And so because I've taken off that mask that I've worn the majority of my corporate life, and now you get to really see the real me, people embrace it, people love it. And so it has resulted in just literally blessings beyond compare. And a lot of it has nothing to do with me and everything with who I believe in. And that's how I show up and how it's been working for me.
That, oh my goodness. See, I told you, talking to me, talking to us, talking to everyone. I was the exact same way in the corporate space. And my wake up call, because I would see other Christians. Well, first of all, I validated it by saying, oh, I don't want to be offensive to whatever they're doing, but they were able to be bold and do whatever they're doing and not worry about offending me. So why was I so concerned with offending them? But it really, I wasn't. I wasn't concerned with that, but that was my excuse that I used to validate not showing up for God the way that he continued to show up for me. And so I used to see other people, and when I did see other Christians, and sometimes I would see them and I would say, man, I wish I could, talk about Jesus like that, because we'll say God, but we won't say Jesus. And so talk about Jesus like that, or, it's a large dinner and everybody gets their food. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be that one. And everybody's looking like, oh, now we have to stop so she can say her great. No, my relationship is with him. And I live to honor him. I live for his approval because nobody else matters if I don't have his approval. If God isn't happy with me, it doesn't matter what anybody else feels about me. And so I had to realize that. And the turning point for me was I made a comment to someone one day about, well, I'm just going to take that step of faith. And they said, oh, I didn't know you were a person of faith. And I was like, but I mean, all taken aback and clutching my pearls. But when had I shown up as that person? And so that was really a wake up call, like, do better, because I don't hesitate to call on God when I need Him. No hesitation. I don't think about it. I don't ponder it. I don't want to know if somebody else, when I need Him, I'm calling on it. But then when it's time for me to show up for Him, then I pull to the background. And we also make the excuses, especially when you have the people who don't believe and are bold with their lack of belief. And it's a lot of people from other religions or even atheists themselves who are familiar with the Bible and can give scripture and refute what you know to be true, and you don't say anything because you're like, well, I don't really know the Bible that well, and I don't want to sound crazy, and I don't want to make it worse. Know that when you show up for God, He will always show up for you. He will always show up for you. He will give you the words to say. He will tell you how to say it, and you will say things you didn't even realize you knew. He always shows up, but we just have to give it to Him. Leave it at the altar. Give it to Him. Absolutely. Lord, this project that you've allowed me to have. I need you to show me how to do it. I need you to show me what people to delegate things to. I need you to show me what, who else I should work with. Who should I trust? And He will give you all of those things. But we get so caught up in, well, I asked Him 2 minutes ago and I didn't get any revelation. And, I didn't see stars falling out of the sky, so He must not be listening to me and all the things. But I just love how you show up and you put your faith first, and understanding that without God, without the relationship, because it's a relationship, without the relationship, nothing else matters. Nothing else makes sense. Nothing else even so I appreciate, and you said something, and I want to make sure that I reference it. You made a comment and you said your faith isn't a limitation. It is your superpower. And Absolutely. We don't look at our faith like that. We don't look at it as our superpower. And it really is. Let me tell you, just today. So talking about wives, I'm a wife. I have 3 children, 11, 15, and 16. And right now, and everybody has practices. And, it's 2 of us, me and my husband, and 3 of them. So we're outnumbered. And everybody has the practices and all the things. And so, but I was like, you know what? I have our conversation and I have to go do some drop-offs, but everything is aligned perfectly. But then my husband tells me yesterday, oh, I have to go to a meeting, so I need you to pick up, one of them, somebody else that I wasn't initially going to pick up. And I was like, okay, how am I going to figure this out? And then, and this one practice time changed, so I also need to do this. And then, this one got out of school late because of AP test. And it was like, okay, wait a minute. So this afternoon, I was just like, oh my goodness, what is happening? And so I was like, you know what, Lord, I'm not going to worry about it. I did what I was supposed to do. I didn't overbook. I didn't, try to do too much. And all of these things are coming at me and I need your help. And I let it go. And I let it go. And a few minutes later, I got a call. Oh, well, we're not going to practice. Oh, we don't have practice. Another call where something else happened and everything just worked out perfectly. And how many times have we had those situations where we have worried and what do I do? What are they going to say? I messed up. All of these things. And then when we just finally give up and like, well, I don't know what to do. So and then it all just ends up working out. And I know I've kind of shifted a little bit, but that's kind of where I'm feeling going with this. That has
been my story. That has been my story. So to your point, it's the same thing. It's many times where I'm like, God, how am I going to do this? And just as you said, in the nick of time, it's that email where the person is canceling. Now, I would have been prepared to kind of reach out and say, hey, which again, when I think of my brand and who I am and how I show up, I struggle with that because I'm like, God, I made a commitment and I want to honor that. But lifed. And then, of course, but just as you said, I let it go. And literally, the person will send an email and say, hey, can we shift to tomorrow at 9? And I know it's a God thing. And I'm like, absolutely. Or I think of even with my promotions and just kind of moving up the proverbial career ladder, right? A lot of times, because of what I do, I'm preparing to have this conversation. I'm like, God, it's so tough. I've only been with this organization for maybe 3 to 6 months. And while I have kind of all of what I've done and accomplished, it's still nerve-wracking because you're like, I don't want to approach. And I'm like, okay, God, well, I'm just going to let you go. And every time, not one time, every time I come to the table and I'm like, God, I want 5,000. And then at the end of that conversation, they're offering me 10. I didn't have to go through any of my spiel. It was one of those where I'm kind of like, hey, I want to talk about just promotion and what that looks like. And they're like, absolutely. Well, here's what I will do. I'm going to go and talk to A, B, C, D. And this is what it's going to be. I even think of a most recent situation that happened where I left the organization that I was formerly with, had been with them for 5 years. I just felt like my season was up, felt like I was not being paid what I deserved. And I knew what it was in the market because of what I do. So I resigned, moved on, did not seek God the way I should have. So I moved before I heard kind of the release. And so went into a new environment, and it was what I needed it to be on paper, but it did not play out that way. And again, I'm talking to God and I'm like, God, I don't know what to do. And I'm literally there just like, God, this isn't it. Like I've made the move. This isn't it. And I knew that from day one. But again, I'm like, God, I made the decision. So I just need you to be with me in this season. I was on the new job for 7 days. The old job called me back and was like, listen, we tried to replace you. It's not happening. We need you back. And not only do we need you back, but we're going to give you more resources. We're going to give you more money. We're going to really come in hard because we see the value. I didn't have to have the conversation. And again, I was grateful because not only did God hear me and was with me in that season, but look at how he still showed up, even though I messed up. And he knew that I was going to mess up and still was there with me. And so for me, and that's why I said, I'm no longer worrying about anything that's, relative to conversations, to my promotions, my well-being, how I show up. What I do is just as you said, and I'm going to take that. I have these business meetings with God and I talked to him about it. I said, God, you know what's happening in my marriage. I need you to make a way. I need for you to figure it out and fix it. And I am just going to be obedient. You know what my kids are going through, my schedule, trying to juggle it all. And I feel sometimes overwhelmed. And in those moments, I just have a release. And just as you said, he shows up, he answers the door. He responds to whatever the need is. And I literally don't have to do what I think I have to do, because to your point, what I really should be doing is getting to know him a little bit more, spending some time in the word, spending time in those business meetings, because he's my business partner. So him and I talk about everything. And I'm like, God, you have to show me the way, just as you said, who should I partner with? Who should I reach out to? And a lot of times it's not difficult at all, because just like you, he drops something. I'm scrolling online and then there's a course. And then I'm like, God, is that you? Then he'll send another reminder and like, yes, it's me. And I'm like, no way, it couldn't be this easy. There's no, or he just gives me those divine connections where someone's like, hey, I've been checking out what you're doing online. How can I help? How can I support? And what they're offering is exactly what I need in that moment. So everything just aligns. And to your point, I think we're so afraid, just as you said, because I've been there. I've been there where I've been challenged with folks that aren't believers, and I felt inadequate because maybe I can't quote the exact scripture. I can't tell you where to find it in the Bible, but I've had to, again, get out of my head and realize that fear was making me stagnant. And so in those moments, I'm like, God, will you just speak to me? Because maybe they don't need a scripture at this particular moment. Maybe they just need to hear me say, this is really the anecdote, and this is what I use to kind of get to where I am. And what I will say to this as well as we kind of close out this segment is that I think about, just as you said, the preparation part of it. And what I realize is I prepared for work and for corporate America, right? So got the degrees, got the certifications, connected with SHRM and World at Work and all of the wonderful organizations to keep me sharp and on my P's and Q's. But how much time did I not spend in my word and doing the same thing? So I go, well, how can you be equipped when you're not really putting in the work? And so that itself is a shift for me. And so now I'm like, oh, I'm prepared to work and burn out and work myself literally to death. Because we do this, we go above and beyond, we sacrifice family time and all of the things that are important to us, but then we're too tired and we're too exhausted to kind of turn to the word. And so similarly to you, That has
Yeah.
been a shift in how I operate. And so now I am bold about getting in the word, getting the resources the same way I would in corporate America to help arm me. And so I've partnered with other believers. I have people that can challenge me, that can test me. And then I go beyond just the surface of, well, this is just who I am, to now, God, I need to be able to hear you. I need to be able to feel you. But to do that, I'm going to have to take the time to
Yes.
study your word,
Yes.
to
Yes.
have those intense conversations. And so, again, with that shift, he is showing up more and more and more, because his word says if we draw close to him, right, he's going to draw closer to us. So even more so, I'm hearing him in every aspect about, this is the move, this is what you should do. And when I follow, absolutely, I get the blessings, the benefits, but more importantly, the spiritual growth, because it should be a transformation. So I think of my clients, even, it's not only that they can come to me and get that career and leadership development, but it's what you said. It's the fruit.
Yes.
It's them knowing that when I walk away, it is so much more than just the career advancement or that promotion. They walk away truly transformed and understanding that it is for his glory. So a lot of times it's that shift, and it's that mindset of, it's not about what we can do, our works, but it's really about our hearts and building that relationship. And that takes intentionality. And so now I'm like, the same way I work overtime, I'm going to pray overtime. The same way I work overtime, I'm going to study overtime. The same way I'm going to be the yes, ma'am, whenever someone says, hey, can you do this and that for me? It's the same thing. So when I'm in that mode of, this is me and God's time, I'm not letting anything stop me, anything interfere with what's going on. And that has to be intentional. So that way we're showing him that he is more important than this job, because he gave me these resources and the job. But now, how do I be faithful? It is putting him first. And it starts with just the small things. I remember thinking of times when it's raining and I'm like, I'm not going to go to church today because it's raining. But then I had to think, well, if I was going into a building at work doesn't stop because there's rain and there's a storm.
Right.
So I've had to tell myself, so it's not going to stop me. I'm getting up, I'm going. If I have a little cold, a little flu, I'm still showing up for work. I'm gonna show up for God no matter what. And so it's all about realizing that that relationship is the most important relationship in my life. And if I focus on that, he's going to make sure that every other relationship that's important to me also works. So I don't have to do the working. He's working it out for me.
Oh my gosh, you just said so many great things. And you're absolutely right. I'll start from the back and even and go back, go to the beginning. I just had that conversation with someone Sunday at church because we were asking her to help volunteer for something. She's like, well, I don't normally get here on time. And I was like, do you get to work on time? Do you? I think so if you get to work on time, then I'm pretty sure you can figure out these Sundays to help. And it was like one Sunday a month. Like, no, you can do this. Like, we're not going to play this game. And a lot of times we want to get, in saying that, a lot of times we want to get, I don't like how they said, or, if you don't want to be called out, like I tell people, if you don't want to be called out, I'm not the person for you, because I'm not a yes person. I know what God has said. I know his promises to me and to us. And so that's what we live by. And if you're not living according to his promises, I'm not going to validate the sin or the wrong just to make you feel good, because God is not a feel good God, but he is about obedience. And so
there you go.
We do have to be, and I don't remember, because people at the beginning of the year, people were always like, what's your word for the year? I don't know what mine was, but it has become intentional, because that is what I have had to be with my relationship with him. And to your point, when other people, husband, your spouse, your kids, everybody starts acting crazy. I just said the other day, I was like, Lord, that is your child. I am not.
Amen.
I will let you have him and deal with that. So understand that. And as we come to a close, and I feel like we could go on forever with this conversation. As we come to a close, I just hope you all have some conviction. I hope that you all have some realization, and I hope that you start to get some intention about spending your time with God, and don't say, well, I have to do this other thing, so I don't have time. Well, if you spend the time with him first, you will know how to have time for the other things, because you cannot do any of those other things without him. And while he is a patient God, and God knows he is, while he is a patient God, he will not wait for you forever. And so when I really made my choice, I said, Lord, I know that I need to pull it together. I need to spend more time with you. I need to pray. I need to read my word. I need to start doing all the things, because I would rather have this relationship with you by choice than by force.
There you go. I love that. I love that. And I think, to your point, I always tell my clients and folks that I have conversations, resumes are accolades. They don't open doors. God does. And so I've opened a few doors, but then when I look back and think about how those experiences were, they did not work out. But when I allowed God to open the door, it was seamless, because he already knows. He already sets the atmosphere. And so exactly, I think if we focus on him, all of the other things will be added unto us. And I find myself now at a point where I don't want to feel like I want to brag, but I realize it's just where we started this conversation. I have a big God, so I'm going to brag, because I will say he does work all of these things out. So not every day is a sunshiny day, but I have a great marriage. I have great children. I am a great mother. I am a great friend. I am a great HR executive. I am a great coach. When I think of where I am today, it is nothing but greatness, but it is because of God. And so I'm not ashamed to say that everything is working out for my good, because I am, just as you said, intentional about God, intentional about his son, intentional about putting my energy and my effort into it. And I moved away from it becoming a check the box, because, growing up in church, it becomes a check the box. And I'm like, it's not a check the box. It's exactly what you said. I am hungry for him. I want it. And so because of that, that's where I'm putting my attention, and everything else is just falling into place. It is not by my effort. It's about me focusing on my faith and that relationship. And as a result of that, and just as you said, being obedient, he is working all of the other things out for my good.
I thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. I love to have a scriptural reference, and the one that I think aligns this episode perfectly, Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. I thank you. And I will say until next time, because we will have a next time.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure.
Hey, friend. If this episode stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Make sure you subscribe to She Leads Boldly so you never miss an episode. And let's stay connected. Join our growing community of faith-driven powerhouse women, where you'll find real talk, encouragement, and tools to fuel your journey. Oh, and I've created something special just for the bold, faith-driven women like you. An ebook, When You Know His Name. Discover identity, intimacy, and the power of prayer through the names of God. This ebook is designed to equip and encourage you to lead with clarity, courage, and conviction in every space God assigns you to. Available now on Amazon. And if you're ready for deeper clarity, I would love to personally walk with you. I offer a one-on-one session called Your Path to Purpose and Power, and it's to help you break through the overwhelm and realign with what God is actually calling you to in this season. Whether it's burnout, boundaries, or fresh vision, you don't have to figure it out alone. All links are in the show notes. Oh, and one last thing. I would love to hear from you. What questions are you carrying this season? What topics would serve your walk, your work, your womanhood right now? Send me a message or an email, because this podcast is for you, and I want every episode to speak directly to where you are. Remember, you don't have to choose between your faith, your family, and the calling on your life. God's grace makes room for it all. So until next time, stay anchored in purpose, covered in grace, and always ready to rise. Talk soon, friend.